Welcome to another episode of the Camper Build. In this episode, we're going to continue working on the posts. Just so you know, this is the previous version of one of the corners that I made. I'm just going to use this for demo so you can see how everything's made. It's a little different than what's currently on the camper, but I'm going to go over all those differences here in a second. So I got a total of 6 posts. The 4 corner posts are different than the 2 side posts, and we'll go over all those changes here in a second. So for the posts, I'm using 2 pieces of 1 inch by 2 inch 80/20, and in the corner, I'm configuring it like this because I thought that would give me the most stability when the forces go like this or when the forces go like that. And then added a piece of 1 inch angle, 3/16 thick in the middle like that. And that really added a lot of strength and structure to the whole assembly. Here you can see how I have the angle mounted onto the post itself. I was going to run this angle the entire length of the post, but just this small piece here was I thought was plenty strong enough, so I was just going to go with this. So the next piece of the puzzle are all the base plates I made out of 1/4 inch flat bar aluminum. I used various different widths. I got 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and 6 inch. I cut them to length, and then I drill the holes, as you can see here, on a 1 inch grid to match the 80/20. And some of the holes I have they're countersunk so that the bolt will fit flush when I put the post on. So, for example, here you can see that these bolts are flush, so it'll mount to the rail here. This is supposed to be a 3 inch piece of flat bar, so normally it looks like this, but I'm using all my 3 inch pieces that I cut, so I just put a 2 inch piece on there for now. So the side posts here are pretty much the same as the corner posts. The only difference is on the corners, I'm using 2 pieces of 1 inch by 2 inch in this configuration, and on the side posts, I'm using it in this configuration like this. Now I could have used a 2 inch by 2 inch post here instead of 2 1 inch by 2 inches. But originally I was just going to have one 1 by 2 here on the post. But this wall was kind of flexing a little bit when I put a lot of pressure on it. Not too bad, it's just a little bit. So I thought I would try putting 2 together to see how much more support I get and how strong it is. So I'll probably go back to just one 1 by 2. And that's because it's not bending that much, and when you're camping with the top up, it's not going to get a lot of force on it. It's pretty rigid and strong as the way it is right now. And then when you're driving, the top will be down, and then the support from the crossbars on the roof will make sure that everything is all tight when you're driving on a rough road or something like that. So I'll probably go back to the 1 by 2, but we'll see. I'm going to play around with it, so at least I have the option to go back and forth. So things to note on the base plates. This is a corner base plate, and it's a 3 inch piece of flat bar. 1 inch of it is covered by the window here, and it's 5 inches in length. And you can see that it covers the entire width of the rail here, which is a 3 inch rail with 1 inch of it covered by the window here. So here's the top plate of a post, and it's important to know why I made it 2 inches. And you can see that from one that's already mounted in. So this is a 2 inch piece of flat bar where 1 inch of it is covered by the rail, and then this plate is bolted into the rail to hold everything together. And so what I end up with is a 1 inch overhang that's going to go the entire perimeter of the inside of the camper. And this is important because this is going to be used to hold the platform, the bed platform, when you slide it out. So I don't have it in yet, but this piece was going to slide in there with just a 1 inch overhang, and then it'll just continue on the entire perimeter of the entire camper. And so on the over cab part here, I've already got a 1 inch shelf that goes all the way along and around and back here. So this is complete. This part up here is complete. So I still have to put in the 1 inch shelf that goes all the way. It'll go all the way around the entire camper. So this is underneath the overcab part of the camper, and you can see that I have a shelf that goes all the way around the entire perimeter of the whole overcab part. I do have a little gap here there's going to be a piece that I'm going to mount in there like that. But for the most part, it's all complete. So I did make some revisions on the post from the previous videos and the previous version of the post, which is this right here. First off, I removed this angle bracket, and I was going to mount it on the inside, but I haven't done that yet. That's because this seems so solid the way it is that I don't think I really need it, but I may put it in later. And so to replace this, it's pretty much for aesthetics only, but I'm using the quarter round 80/20, and I'm mounting on. So instead of using the angle brackets that I was making, I decided to go ahead and use the 80/20 quarter rounds, and that really kind of ties in there nice and makes everything look real good. So I'm attaching these quarter rounds the same way I do the 1x2 post here, where I tap this hole and then bolt it directly into the base plate here. And I do the same thing here for the top, except I need to round this off to match the profile of the quarter round. And you can see here how I have that bolted into the base plate. So I need to go over a couple more changes that I made on the post, so there's no confusion from the previous videos to what I currently have on the camper. So first off, you got to remember the main components of the camper. I got the base camper here, the top rail, and then there's going to be an extension of the camper that sits on top. This I may or may not put this on. We'll kind of wait and see, but I'll talk about that more when I talk about this top rail, and then the roof of the camper. And so the original idea was that this top plate here was going to have this notch in it, and that angle bracket was going to sit in that notch. And so this angle bracket, I was going to have it extend the entire length of the post, also to the top rail, and then onto the extension itself. So it would just be one continuous piece all the way down. So by going with the quarter round, I wasn't able to extend this all the way through to the top rail and the extension part of the camper. So what I'll probably do is have two pieces, one piece here for the main part of the post, and then another piece that connects the top rail and the extension part of the camper. And I'll also probably put a little piece on the roof of the camper as well. So for the top plate, I started with a 2-inch piece of flat bar, but I really wanted to have a gusset. So I moved to a 6-inch piece of flat bar and then just cut off this corner here. This is probably too big, but I've already committed to the 6-inch, maybe 5-inch or 4-inch. I'm not sure. Anyways, but I maintained my little 1-inch shelf here, and this piece is going to fit in there like that. So this is the center post of the camper. It's the same thing. It's a 6-inch piece of flat bar with the corner cut off to form the gusset. But this piece is massive, as you'll see here in the build video. But it extends underneath the rail here, comes along over here underneath the plywood, and then forms another gusset up here in the front and then over. So here's why I put those gussets on the top of the camper. I'm just going to use a cardboard box as an example. This is the front of the camper, this will be the top of the camper, and this will be inside the camper. Basically the front of the camper here is like a brick wall in the wind. And so I was worried about getting to like a resonance frequency where the camper would start kind of doing this kind of thing and then just kind of destroying the camper. So by putting the gussets there, that should kind of stabilize everything out so it won't flex into this kind of position. So one of the things I would change if I were to start all over again on the camper build would be the 1/4-inch flat bar. So I didn't realize how much of this stuff I was going to use because I'm covering the entire perimeter of the top part of the camper and then in a whole bunch of other various places as well. I should have used 3/16 because I think that's going to be just as strong, but you know, I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. I'm already committed to the 1/4-inch. But by going with the 3/16, I could have reduced the weight of all the flat bar that I used by 25% and probably 25% of the cost as well. And so I'm really concerned about weight, and so I'm trying to keep everything down. So if I were to do it all over again, I probably would have used 3/16 instead of 1/4-inch. So it's hard to say if 3/16 would work or if a 1/4-inch is best. I just don't know. But here are some of the blanks that I use. So it's 1-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch, and 6-inch. and then I just cut the lengths that I need and then drill the whole pattern on a 1-inch grid on each of the pieces. That's most of the work, just cutting and drilling. So far for this whole camper build, there is no welding involved. It's just cutting, drilling, and bolting everything together. So that's going to do it for another episode of the camper build. If you want to follow along, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.